Hey! This is a video I've been meaning to make for a while now, and I'm just gonna jump right in and just go for it. I saw Hannah Hart do this first, and I love her, and this looked really fun, so here I go. How do you self-identify your gender, and what does that definition mean to you? As you may have possibly guessed, I like the label non-binary. What it means to me, neutral. I think that's the key for me, is neutral. What pronouns honour you? I am a big fan of the singular they, but she is also okay most of the time, but in general, I prefer they. Describe the style of clothing that you most often wear. I am, quite a feminine dressing, presenting person, so I love skirts and bright colours and, funky tights and leggings, pretty tops. I mean, look at this skirt I'm wearing right now. Isn't it the most beautiful thing you have ever seen in your life? I freaking love it. So yeah, dressing up, really. I love everything about that. Talk about your choices with body hair. How do you style your hair? Do you have facial hair? What do you choose to shave or choose not to shave? I have a big long mane of ginger locks, which are usually completely dead straight, but because they've been up, they're a little bit curly. But yeah, that's quite long. So I usually, in terms of styling my hair, I occasionally do something interesting with braids. But I'm a very lazy person, and that's very difficult, and I'm not a natural with hair. I can barely do bobby pins. So usually I just twist it out of the way, like this, which works really well for me. I don't shave any part of my body at all. I have pit hair, leg hair, pubes, the lot. The only part of my body that I do modify hair-wise is what, is the tiny bit between my eyebrows, and that's it. Talk about cosmetics. Do you choose to wear makeup? Do you paint your nails? Do you use any soaps and perfumes? On days when I'm going out and want to look alive, or if I care particularly more that day, usually if I'm going to work, I wear mascara and concealer, and that's it. I occasionally wear lipstick, but that's really it. I love painting my nails though. That's one of my most useless but brilliant life gifts, is that I'm really, really good at painting my nails and painting in the lines and painting with my left hand. It's great. Soaps and perfumes. I use shower gel, like most other people, I guess, but I have one perfume that I think my parents gave me for Christmas a few years ago, and occasionally I'll spritz some of that on if I remember that I have it. But other than that, not really. Have you experienced being misgendered? If so, how often? This is a tricky one for me because I don't mind being she sometimes, but also sometimes I do, and it's I can never tell until it happens, which sucks. So usually being grouped in with women and girls can kind of be a downer, and being referred to as she can be a downer sometimes. It's weird. It's not like I don't want to be associated with women, I just don't feel like one a lot of the time. It sounds very illogical, and it's weird to define yourself with negatives. There's a post in my gender stuff tag on Tumblr that I'll link below, Gender and Pleasure, which is about defining yourself by what makes, you feel better. So when people refer to me as she, I sometimes feel kind of like eh, but, they makes me feel bright and happy. And gender neutral stuff makes me feel happy and good about life. And it's about creating space, language-wise, for people to exist and for people to grow and experiment, and I like that a lot. I think about pronouns a lot as well. I wrote a fic around about this time last year with fairy characters, and I decided that the fairies would each have, each species of fairy would have a different set of pronouns, and they would refer to each other based on their species rather than gender, which didn't really exist for them in the same way that it does for humans. And I think about that in terms of aliens as well, because if we ever, have contact from another planet or something, it's ridiculous to think that they will split themselves down the middle in a binary way, gender-wise, the same way that we do. It's just stupid. And I feel like, as an evolving race, we should create more space for that sort of thing. For evolution of gender, if that makes sense. Do you experience dysphoria? If so, how does that affect you? No, I don't experience any dysphoria, not really, which I'm very, fortunate in that respect. And I think it's mostly because I have a lot of confidence in my body. I feel very happy with the body that I'm in, which is great. I would love to switch around to different bodies though. That would be freaking cool. For research purposes, if nothing else, I would love to try out having a dick for a day. That would be really, really awesome. And it kind of bums me out that at the moment there aren't really many ways to obviously present as gender non-conforming. I mean, you can you can dye your hair and you can give yourself an undercut and have piercings and stuff like that, and that makes you look slightly less straight in the nicest way possible. And there's a great poem that I'm also going to link below. It's a slam poem called The Queer Hokey Pokey, and it's about that sort of thing. And it kind of bums me out a little because I'm never going to look like that. I really like having, really long hair and wearing skirts and stuff, which means that I'm pretty much always going to be read as a straight woman, which is fine, especially if I'm out with my boyfriend. I'm always going to be read that way until I say otherwise. And I think that's why I feel happiest with my gender when I'm alone, in a kind of society-less vacuum. Because that sense of observation I find really depressing sometimes, the way that, not like judging you, people don't necessarily look at you and judge you, but they do make assumptions based on the way you look, which, you have to do that. Otherwise you can't interact with anyone without asking them a bunch of questions first, which is just, that's not going to happen, being realistic. So, I feel happiest in my gender when I'm on my own, especially when I'm doing witchy stuff, like, doing spells, reading tarot cards, because those aren't gendered activities for me. I mean, witchcraft isn't gendered in the same way that, the sky isn't gendered, and water and electricity don't have genders, so I feel less gendered when I'm doing those things, when I'm doing magic-y stuff. And I don't think it's a coincidence that I started having, serious deep thoughts about gender not long after I started practicing witchcraft again. Talk about children. Are you interested in having children? Do you want to carry a child if that's an option for you? Do you want to be the primary caretaker of any children you may have? I am practically still a child myself, and the very idea of bringing a tiny baby into the world and having to raise that baby to be a good human being is very overwhelming. I can barely adult as it is. I am so not ready to be a parent. But in the distant future, perhaps, maybe. I like the idea of being pregnant. I mean, that seems like a really cool thing for your body to go through. I'm just kind of fascinated with the idea that pregnancy is a thing that could happen to me. It's amazing. I mean, that your body could mutate and carry a living creature and then produce said creature. I don't know, it's super rad, and I really like that idea. The end product, at the moment, not so much, but maybe I'll get there one day. I don't exactly know what the primary caretaker would be, but I'm guessing, like, the main parent? I'd like to coordinate that with someone else, at least. But yes, let's go with yes. Talk about money. Is it important for you to financially provide for your family? Do you feel like you have to earn more than any partner you may be with at the time? Do you prefer to pay for things like dates? Do you feel uncomfortable when others offer to pay for things for you? Financial responsibility is an important thing, and I would not be okay with having a kid. If I got pregnant now, I would abort so fast, because A, responsibility I'm so not ready for, B, not financially in a position to be having children at all. And that's really important to me. Like, I wouldn't want to have a kid without being able to provide financially, It's not important to me to earn more than my partner, than Aiden, at all. Like, as long as I'm earning something and contributing something, then I don't mind, really, at all. Paying for things, I have been with Aiden since I was 16, so I think it's safe to say that all of my dates ever have only ever been with him. And recently, we've got a joint account, so we've just, we pay for things like that together. But before that, we just took turns, and that worked out fine too. I don't mind family paying for things for me. Like, outings, going, places. And I don't mind paying for them as well in return. Like, I like buying gifts for my loved ones. That's, it seems to me like one of the best ways to spend an income now that I have one. And I don't mind friends spotting me money, or like the generosity of strangers or anything like that. But with friends, I feel like it should be more fair. If you're going out for a meal and everyone, like, chips in, it should be fair. Anything else you want to share about your experience with gender? Some history. So this started, just over a year ago, I think. And from that, I've gathered that, so far at least, I feel more female in the spring, summer-ish, and more neutral, non-binary, in autumn, winter, which is pretty cool, because it's like my gender goes into hibernation, which is pretty neat. Other things, I'd like to thank my friends on Twitter, who have also gone, like, a lot of them have also gone and are going through, gender things, and they've just been a super great influence, and it's been really helpful to just watch other people it's really nice, you know, seeing other people also talk about this and talk about their feelings and what their experiences are like. It's just really helpful all round. So, you know, that's kind of what I'm doing by making this tag and making the effort to talk to people about it more, and perhaps telling people, you know, more than just a few tiny close friends, that I prefer the pronouns they. You know, we're working up to it. It's just a scary topic to broach, you know, because it's so unfamiliar. But the only way you can make it less unfamiliar is by broaching the topic. The Limers fandom has been really great for this. Like, there are loads and loads of fics where, you know, there are non-binary characters, trans characters, and I feel like, for me at least, and possibly for those writers as well, it's really helpful to work through these sorts of feelings and thoughts via characters that are fictional and therefore cannot be hurt or anything like that. It's good to just have a sandbox to play around with these things. That's primarily how I work through unfamiliar thoughts and feelings that are important to me. I put my characters through those thoughts and feelings instead, which I find hugely, hugely helpful, particularly when I get comments that are, you know, good comments, and that's very cathartic for me. It's good. So doing that has been great. I think that's pretty much it. Yeah, okay, so if you have gender feelings and thoughts and questions, then please, by all means, comment. Don't be a dick about anything, that's very important, and I'll try and engage as much as I can. Super! Alright, I'll see you in the next video. Bye!